is a show that focuses on the person behind the Brony. I'm your host, OsakaJack. Please sit back and relax as we talk to this week's guest Brony. Hello, everyone. This is Into the Spotlight, and I'm your host, OsakaJack. With me this week, I have someone who is as far away from me as the rest of you are from me. We kind of form a triangle around the world. Moon! Hello.
Hello.
How are you doing?
I'm doing quite well. How are you doing?
I'm still hot, but, I've turned on the air conditioner and I realize the expense incurred, but I need it. I'm melting.
It's completely worth it.
Totally. I wish to make a pony plushie and name it Freon and just hug him and cuddle him forever and ever and ever.
That's a really good idea, actually.
You could get like some of the refrigerated gel and like put it like in a pouch inside of him. Oh, I'm liking this. Freon, the cool pony. Oh, dibs! I write this down. This is my idea. Anybody can use it, but give me credit, okay? Freon, the cool pony.
It's gonna happen soon now.
Yay! Wonderful. Well, if anybody does not know, can you give a little hint? What do you do?
Well, I draw multicolored marshmallows in the shape of cute little equines.
Mm-hmm.
Also, a little bit of a writer. I've dealt in. I'm working on some comic stuff, and
Okay.
I'm also one of the lead concepts for the fan-made movie Journey of the Spark.
Ooh, that's right.
So half of what I do can't even be seen yet. So
Right. But we'll be seen at some point, I would hope.
yes,
Okay,
very
that's
much.
good. That's good. Yeah, so you're you know what? I'm going to use this just for me, but a jack of all trades. Because I'm OsakaJack and it's a jack of all trades. Okay.
Yeah, well, I kind of working on it because I tried. Well, I spent a little time trying to dabble in animation too. That
Mm-hmm.
I haven't had much time to spend on it, but
Right.
yeah. So if I forget the time, I hope to work with that too. But we'll have to
Okay.
see how that turns out.
Right. So a little bit of art and writing and storyboarding?
Well, concepting mostly.
Okay, concepting.
Um, yeah. Well, I'm kind of for Journey of the Spark. I'm also one of the backup storyboarders too. So
Oh, okay.
whenever they need someone to fill in for that spot, they pull me in for it too. So
I see. How many people are currently working on Journey of the Spark?
I'm trying to think what our last count was.
We don't need
Our
exact, just a general figure.
I think the last I heard from the director, he said at least within our that's on our employment list at least is I want to say maybe 40 to 50 people. That could be more, that could be less.
Okay.
Because we've got some people that are kind of in a little bit and some that are off having real life things to deal with.
Selfish.
So,
Selfish people. What do you do in real
yeah.
life? Come on now.
But we always are. We're always looking for more people. We always have positions to fill. So I mean, if anybody's ever interested in joining the crew, feel free. I feel absolutely free to apply. So.
And I believe it goes without saying that you're implying somebody who's capable and willing to work is totally free to apply.
Oh yes,
Rather than
definitely.
somebody who comes in and says, you know what we should do? We should just make like Discord appear and go to the mirror pool and then make thousands of them and you can draw that, right?
Yeah, we get some interesting applications sometimes. Some people who say that the hours they can work per week is just one. And we're like,
One?
well, yeah, just like, well, we kind of need more than that. This is a movie production. We kind of need a little bit more devotion.
1 hour a week. I
Yes.
I'm trying to imagine anything that I do in my life that only takes up 1 hour a week, and I'm having a hard time doing it. I mean, one literally, even if I go quickly, just showering every week takes up more than an hour of my week.
Yeah. So,
Wow.
but I mean, we get some great people too.
Oh, sure.
We've had some great additions to the team, and
Hmm.
I mean, it's going to be something very wonderful. So,
Yeah.
very confident in that.
Good. Wonderful. We shall look forward to it. Yay! You mentioned also you're working on your own comic project.
Yeah. Well, ever since I started doing pony stuff,
Hmm.
I've done web comics in the past,
Right.
and I've I always wanted to do a pony comic,
Sure.
and I've been just kind of trying to think, well, what am I going to do it on?
Uh-huh.
And one time, a song came on the station, and uh, this is a song that's pretty much inspired everyone, called "I Am Octavia."
Okay.
And I mean, two of my favorite characters are Octavia and Vinyl Scratch, and
Hmm.
so after hearing that song, that kind of inspired kind of a short comic in my head, and I was like, okay, I really wanted. This is what my subject is going to be. It's going to kind of based around this song,
Hmm. Hmm.
and then it kind of just started to expand,
Okay.
and it started growing, and it started becoming a full story in itself. So it was no longer a short that was going to be working on. It was going to be a full on written out story.
Nice.
And I actually, one of my really good friends, I told him I was writing on it, but
Hmm.
I'm not always the best writer. I'm good at
Okay.
writing big stories, but I sometimes have problems connecting point A and point B together. But I can
Okay,
make all
sure.
the points.
Right.
And I told one of my friends about it. You've actually had him on your show before. He's known as his name is Calvin.
Oh,
He's also
Calvin
known.
Death Scar. Right, right.
Yes. I told him about what I was working on, and he said, well, "I'm glad to help you with it." And I was like, "Yes, I could definitely use your help with it because you're a really good writer." And so he joined me in the project, and we've been
Wonderful.
working on it for a few months. We've gotten kind of busy lately. He's
Sure.
been busy with his own stuff, and I have too. So
Hmm. Hmm.
we, we've gotten the first chapter written out, and
Nice.
we plan to release in chapters so we can kind of
Okay.
maintain the pacing. And
Sure.
you release with web comics, you release page by page.
Hmm.
It does get you have to worry about your pacing a lot. So
True. True. Especially if it's one of those web comics that updates once a month with a message that says, "Sorry, still on hiatus." Ah.
yeah, I'm guilty of that actually.
I don't mind if a web comic says, "Okay, I'm sorry, but I'm done and I can't do it anymore." But I really dislike it if you get a web comic that will go for months and months and just like every 3 months, still on hiatus. Look for something big soon. Okay. And then eventually it just disappears. You're like, what? What? No.
Yeah,
I whenever I'm watching a sitcom, I always have a rule that I never watch a sitcom the first year. And that started from the idea of Cheers. I'm not sure how familiar my audience is with it. It is a bit dated of a sitcom, but Cheers was a wonderful sitcom. And its first year, it actually ranked second from the bottom in all of the new shows for that season. It was horrible. But for some reason, they didn't cancel it. And starting with the second season, it became fantastic. So I kind of do the same thing with sitcoms from now on. If it's in its
hmm.
first season, I'm not going to watch it. I'm going to give it time to keep baking. And once I'm sure it's done, then I'll watch it. So
Yes.
I do the same thing for webcomics often. I'm not going to pay attention until we get to chapter 2. And then, okay, now I'll read everything.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of comics. They'll push out a few pages, and then that's all you ever see of it ever again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I understand there's sometimes circumstances that just you're not able to do what you want to do. But I 10 times prefer reading a finished story that's okay as to a wonderful story that never ends.
Yeah.
Except Never Ending Story.
Well, seeing as the direction some of those have taken, it probably should have ended.
uh, well, I know and I'm going to see if you recognize this before I explain it, but I have your art in my bag.
Do you?
I do. Okay, you don't get it. That's right. One of the items on your page is a bona fide picture that was taken when Dusty and Screwball met. Dusty
Oh
and
yes,
Screwball
yes.
went, and they had a great picture of them giving each other a bro hoof, with right arm and left arm respectively, as they're sitting in a diner. It's a great picture, and you bona fide it beautifully.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
Mhm.
Screwball would come up and he'd ask me if I would do one for him.
Yeah. It's really good, and I know that at Everfree Northwest this year, at least at Everfree Northwest this year, I would assume other places, but Dusty was giving out buttons that had this picture on it.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw him tweet pictures of him, and I was like, oh, he's using my picture. That's so awesome.
Hmm.
That yeah.
Yep. So I've got your picture in my bag because I don't take stuff out of my bag once it gets in there. What was there any other part to that story, or was that pretty much it? Just he asked you to ponify it.
um. Well, yeah, I had done some work for them before.
Okay.
Well, there was one time Screwball had tweeted just this silly little idea of um, what was it? He was talking about a zombie apocalypse, and goodness, I'm trying to remember exactly what it was. Oh, he was saying, don't be alarmed. There's a zombie apocalypse, and there's water in the basement, and we're out of toilet paper. And I just got the image in my head of just a bunch of zomponies around, and like Screwball and an Overhaul, Dusty's character,
Hmm.
just with saddlebags full of toilet paper. And I mean, I put my character in there too, and
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
and yeah, I showed that to him, and uh, he'd asked me to do a couple more. So yeah, so then later on, he asked if I would quantify one of their photographs that
Hmm.
he had taken, and
I
yeah, it
th-
was the bro picture.
I think one of the other ones that you did was some artwork for the radio drama that they did, where Screwball was captured by Nightmare Moon. Is that right?
Yeah, that was one I had done for them.
Okay. And I don't know if it was related or if you just did it, but you also did a hearth swarming picture of the two of them.
Yeah, I did. Well, they had actually asked for any just anybody who wanted to do a horse warming picture for him, and
Okay.
yeah, I decided I wanted to do one. So
Oh, all right then. It's cute. Now, would you
thank you.
say, okay, now this is important for my enjoyment of the picture. Are they drinking hot cocoa or coffee?
Uh, well,
Be honest.
I'm not a coffee drinker, so uh, I would say cocoa, but
Okay, marshmallows or no marshmallows?
it has to have marshmallows.
Then you're okay. Then I love this picture very, very much. It's very wonderful. Okay, you have chosen wisely. I apologize to the coffee drinkers out there, but yeah, I'll take hot cocoa with marshmallows any day of the year.
Definitely.
Well, one of the other pictures, it says on there, Vinyl and Octavia tattoo design.
Yeah. I did up a tattoo design, and I actually had it put on me.
Oh, really?
Of
Okay. All right. That's what I was going to ask, if you had actually gone through with it and gotten that tattoo specifically.
Yes, I did. I generally don't get tattoos unless something has a big meaning to me or
Hmm.
has is a good marker in my life. And uh, well, being a brony has been something very important to me. So
Mm.
even if come years, decades later, I don't like pony as much anymore, it's definitely something I wanted to remember. So
Sure, sure.
yeah, so I had those. I drew up those two, which
Hmm.
And those two actually have meaning as well, because people have often compared me and my girlfriend to Vinyl Scratch and Octavia.
Oh, that's nice.
I'm kind of the obnoxious one that drives her crazy, and she's the kind of refined one that's always trying to get me to settle down and be a bit more.
Would you do me a favor? Would you just say we crank the bass up to 11 and clean the dishes on a microscopic level? I'm joking.
I wish I had a dishwasher like that.
Oh, yeah.
The neighbors would hate me, but
I would get it just to cheese off the neighbors at times. I've mentioned it before, and God love my next door neighbor, elderly gentleman. He's usually very nice and very kind, but he is very hard of hearing, and his alarm clock has to go off for 25 or 35 minutes before he'll turn it off. And it goes off at 6 a.m., and it's right next to the wall that's next to my bed, and I wake up within a minute.
Ooh.
So every morning I'm up for 25, 30 minutes waiting for him to wake up to his alarm clock. And, so yeah, I think I would just get out the dubstep dishwasher. Bow, dibby, 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 dibby.
Alarm starts going off. Time to do the dishes.
Yep. That way he wouldn't have to hear it. He could feel the vibrations. Oh, I must be awake now. Okay. Well, something I would like to mention, if you don't mind, you are, and I hinted at it, but you're not in the States.
No, I live in the Netherlands. I'm from the U.S., but I live.
And she is not Peter Pan either. All right, terrible joke. I apologize, but had to be made. Seeing who gets it. Moving on. Okay, but no, you live in the Netherlands.
Yeah.
Speaking as one American expat to another, what drew you to the Netherlands?
Actually, it was purely for relationship.
Okay.
I met my girlfriend several years ago, and of course, long distance relationships are always quite difficult. And
sure.
After being together for a few years, and we visited each other and decided, well, can I handle living in the Netherlands for a time? And decided I could. So, yeah, after a couple years, decided to move in together, and I got my visa in the Netherlands. So.
Oh. You know, I'm familiar with the visa process over here. I don't know how difficult it is for the Netherlands. Do you have to go? I have to go. My current boss is very generous and will allow me to get the 3-year visa. So I only have to go back every 3 years. But every other job in Japan, you have to go back every year to renew your visa. Is it similar?
It kind of is. It depends on the reasons you're getting a visa.
Okay.
Actually, the first time I applied for my visa, I didn't get it, so I had to go back to the U.S. for about 3 months.
Oh, wow.
You're only allowed to stay in Europe at least for about 90 days, and then they say you have to go back if you don't have a visa, and you have to stay away for 90 days. So
yeah.
But yeah, the process is pretty similar. My conditions for being in was because I'm just a freelance illustrator, so I don't make much money. So the premise I got in under was that my girlfriend basically supports me.
Okay.
So
they've actually toughened the laws up here in Japan, and that's no longer a viable option. There's a minimum amount of money you have to make to stay here if you're a foreigner, which can get quite trying if somebody wants to be, house mother or housewife. It's quite difficult now. They've changed the process.
Yeah, it's
though I admit, for all the visas that I've seen, the most ridiculous I've seen so far has been the British one. Just because at the company I used to work at, British people could come over here for, I think it was longer than 3 months. I think it was 6 months. But it was under a certain visa, and that visa was apparently a one-time thing. It's like student traveling or something to that extent. I'm not exactly sure. If they decided that they liked the job and that they wanted to keep working after the 6 months, they actually had to leave Japan for 4 months, then change the visa, then return.
That's quite strange.
It wasn't that they didn't have a job. They had a job. And the visa was fine for them. It's just for them to change a visa, they had to be living in England to get approval to change their visa to something that had already been approved. It was just so many levels of ridiculous.
Sounds more like they're just trying to discourage the entire thing, but I don't know.
Could be. How have you found Netherlands so far?
I do like it here. It's different.
Sure.
I don't speak Dutch hardly at all, which makes it hard to get around. There are people speak English here, but it does take a lot to get used to. I'm further north than I'm used to. I'm from southern United States, so I'm used to nice, hot, muggy weather, and then I'm all the way up north now that it's cooler. The summers don't last as long, and of course it's very traditional to bike everywhere. Everything's set up so you can bike, and so very different from the U.S. In the U.S., you can't hardly bike anywhere, whereas here in the Netherlands, it's pretty much everyone owns a bicycle.
That's interesting. I would say for Japan, everybody usually owns a bicycle or steals a bicycle.
That's kind of common here too.
Is it? Okay, all right. At the train station, there's always bicycles parked in the do not parking area. And if any of them don't have a lock, those are the ones that have been stolen. Which is funny because you'll get drunk people coming home and they'll look for the ones without locks and just ride them home. And the logic is, I can't do it. I can't do it. It just, no, I'm sorry. There's some part of me that can't do it. But I understand the logic. This bicycle is already stolen. Riding it back to my house isn't going to make it more stolen.
Yeah. I guess I wouldn't be able to do it because somebody parked it there, so somebody probably has the intention of taking it home. So,
quite often not the case in Japan. They've just ridden it to the train station to ride it to the train station, and will take the train somewhere else. But there are, when you purchase your bicycle here, if you pay an extra fee, you can get a number attached to it. And if your bicycle is stolen, then the police will look for that number. Or more specifically, they'll wait and see if that number shows up somewhere. And if it does, then you can pay extra money to get your bicycle back.
It seems like by the time they find it, you probably have a new bike already.
Well, by the time they find it, plus also the fee to get the thing in the first place, plus the fee to get your bicycle back is like 85% of the cost of a new bicycle altogether. So it's just not worth it. Well, you mentioned Calvin Deathscar, but I do see there's a picture, a really cute picture called Group Hug.
Yeah, I just finished that one the other day. It's my OC and his OC, and then Pinkie Pie, which is usually one of my ponies, and Rainbow Dash, which is one of his. So.
Very cute. So if somebody becomes your friend and then has a difficult day, then you're saying that you'll bribe them with, or be able to reward them with stuff like this? So they should bribe you with sending you stuff from America?
That's usually how it works, actually. If I'm friends with somebody and they're having a hard time, I will usually draw up something for them.
Oh, that's nice. I was just joking, but that's nice. You mentioned it before we started recording, but you mentioned that one of the things you miss is spiciness in the food.
Oh, yeah. The Dutch don't do spicy, really. Their hottest food doesn't even register to me. Whereas everyone here I'll see like eat the spiciest thing and they're just sweating and panting, and I don't taste it.
I will say one member of my family was dating somebody who strong Dutch ancestry. He couldn't eat green peppers because they were too spicy for him. And we were peppers. Like, really? Green peppers, as in the things that we nosh on in summertime to cool down, are too spicy for you? Wow. Okay.
Oh yeah, it's spicy food. I went back to the U.S. Last November, and I just stocked up on it. I ate as much spicy food as I could get.
Yep, I understand that totally. When I was back in Seattle for a short time, I went to Jack in the Box as much as I could. It's the hometown food factor. There will never be anything like it. There's
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Do they I mean, is it possible for somebody to purchase Tabasco even?
It is possible.
Oh, thank goodness.
Oh yeah. You can get that sometimes if you're lucky. A store will be selling jalapenos, but it's
Ooh.
not. I've, sometimes the store here will sell them, and then they'll be gone in a month, and then
Oh.
I'm left crying in a corner.
Well, I know that you'll have an opportunity soon. You're going to be attending Buck.
Yes, I'm going to be actually a week from when this is recording. So,
Nice. Okay. So you'll be able to stock up on curries and spicy sauces and.
oh yes, I'll be stopping at every restaurant in the store I can find to just eat as much spicy food as I can get.
Come back without any functioning nostrils and just like, it's totally worth it.
Yeah, my tongue's just the taste buds are all burned off.
I'm
It was the
curious
best
how
trip ever.
the average Dutch person would respond to the first episode of My Little Pony then, when Pinkie Pie is putting hot sauce covering a cupcake with it. I'm just curious how they would respond. uh,
I don't know, but ever since I've seen that, I've wanted to do it.
you haven't done it yet? Oh, neither have I,
No, I
but
haven't.
it looks interesting. Well, a question that I ask in all of my interviews, in all of My Little Pony, what would you say is the one line or one scene that defines you as a brony?
Um, I would say the scene in the very second episode
Okay.
when Twilight is talking about the spark
Hmm.
and how the spark has made her realize what she's been missing in her life and uh, made her made her realize what's important to her. And
Hmm.
to me, that seems like the same thing for me. Is ever since I started drawing My Little Pony and entering the fandom, is I've before before I started doing it, I
Hmm.
was in a huge art slump. I found myself just trying to draw what would I tried to become popular
Okay.
as an artist, and
Right.
so I always found myself just trying to draw what I thought other people wanted,
Ah, okay.
and it never really worked. And
Hmm.
so I just decided one day I want to draw a pony, and
Yeah.
I'm going to do it. And I did it. I had fun with it, and it really took off from there.
Okay.
And
Okay.
I didn't care really anymore about becoming popular with it or anything. But some of it did start to happen,
Uh-huh.
and it really invigorated the spark back in me again to do what I loved. And then of course finding a lot of friends, and
Hmm.
it really helped me realize what was important. So yeah, the spark was very important.
Huh. Do you happen to recall which pony it was that you drew, or was it an OC?
The very first pony I drew was my OC. I
Okay.
wanted to draw myself as a pony, so
Okay. So is that the moon coral picture of flying in the purple sunset?
yes,
Okay.
my first pony, Moon Coral.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Followed very closely by a lightning rain boom.
Yep, I decided her special skill was flying through clouds and trailing lightning behind her. So I thought it'd be really neat if that got combined with a sonic rain boom.
Ah, yes.
She can't fly as fast as Rainbow Dash, but if she gets in the slipstream, she can keep up a little bit.
Okay, I see. Makes sense. Makes sense. my my boss is very supportive of Pony, but hasn't really had time to watch the episodes. But her son loves the episodes, and very recently was the Sonic Rain Boom episode. So he was trying to he's 3. He was trying to explain to her what a Sonic Rain Boom was, and she just couldn't understand. And he would say, only Rainbow Dash can do it, and it's big and in the sky and circle and boom. And so she came to me and she said, can you help me? and she had to describe it to me, but she could only use the same words. So she said, "It's Rainbow Dash. Only Rainbow Dash can do it. In the sky, big circle, boom." I said, "Oh, Sonic Rain Boom. Yeah. Let me show you the video. Here you go." So I was able to show her it right after it, but I found it funny to watch him try to describe the Sonic Rain Boom.
That sounds cute.
It was very cute, yeah. Well, on your page, it has some commission information. Is that still open, or are you too busy at this point?
I am busier than in the past, but I'm still open for commissions. I still take them.
Okay.
Yeah, they might be. I tell everyone that, yeah, I'm a little bit busy, so that the turnaround on it may not be as quick, but I do give them a priority. So
Okay.
if anybody wants to purchase a commission, I'm still open for them.
Oh, good. Yay. And I would assume it's your choice, whether or not to take a commission.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. I haven't had to reject any commissions yet, but
Okay, knock on wood.
Usually,
Knock on wood.
yeah. I do have some info things I won't draw, but
Sure.
yeah.
Well, yeah, it's important to have standards, definitely. I am curious about the commission Felicia, though. Is that a two-headed pony?
Yeah.
Okay.
That was a very interesting one I got. I didn't know how to approach it at first, but it was actually a trio of commissions from someone
Oh, okay. All right.
that they have their own characters. They're actually, I think, furry characters, but he wanted them ponified.
Okay.
So, yeah, so there was the one that was a two-headed pony, and I was like, that'd be actually quite interesting. So,
Yeah.
it's one of the more interesting ones I've done, and it's actually been kind of popular amongst people. So,
Huh. I mean, if you just say two-headed pony, there is an image of that comes to my head, but looking at it, I'm like, yeah, okay, all right, whatever. It reminds me of the two-headed monster from Sesame Street, honestly.
oh yeah.
A bit more cute and awkward than horrifying. So I apologize if the person was going for horrifying, because that's not quite what I am seeing here.
Well, I hope they weren't going for that either, because I definitely strayed away from that.
I think that would be funny to have somebody request something just so terrible and like, oh, here's it is cute. Dang it, no, didn't want cute. I wanted scary and Now, it's not on the commission information, but based on one of the other pictures, what if we wanted a steampunk pony?
Um,
So I can see a steampunk moon coral.
yeah. If somebody wants any kind of additions or anything special, I will do that. I'll kind of negotiate with them for anything
Sure.
they kind of want. So,
Sure. Okay.
I mean, yeah, what's in my commission list? A lot of things are negotiable. So, except for the things I explicitly stated I won't do,
Right.
I'll work with anybody for really kind of anything they want. So,
Okay.
and if there's something that's not on the list that somebody wants, all they have to do is just ask, and I'll discuss it with them.
Great. So at the very least, it'll be discussed and
Yes.
not just dismissed.
Yeah, I'm always open to trying new things myself. So if somebody wants something that I've never done before, and I'll usually give it a chance and give it a good effort to give it a shot.
Super. So we should look for, definitely, upcoming project, Journey of the Spark. Definitely keep our eyes out for.
Oh, yes.
Your comic project, is there a title to your comic project yet, or not yet? Or not finalized yet?
It's tentatively titled at the moment. Right now we're calling it Vinyl's Last Piece.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the title to look for. We actually wanted it out, the first issue out over the summer, but we got kind of busy. So.
Well, yeah, life happens.
Yeah, but hopefully we're gonna get it, since the first chapter's written. Hopefully we're gonna get the first issue of it out soon.
That's good. All right, so be on the lookout for Vinyl's Last Piece and Journey of the Spark. And if somebody happens to go to Buck, they should look for you or not.
Yeah, absolutely. Look for me. Say hi.
Just have like some Tabasco bottles out, and if you see somebody start scrambling to beg for one of them, that's probably her.
That's probably the best way to get my attention because, if you talk to me online, I'm more of a Pinkie Pie, but if you get me in person, I'm a Fluttershy.
I can
I'll
understand
back
that,
up into a corner, and
Sure.
but if you jiggle some hot sauce, I'll probably tear through the crowds.
I'm just curious. Have you had the green Tabasco?
I haven't even seen it.
Ooh, it's good. The fact that it's available in Japan and not in your area is slightly humorous to me. But well, everybody, today we have been speaking with MoonSango, Moon Coral. Any of those 3 names can work. Be sure to check out her deviant art and Twitter.
Yes, I'm on Twitter.
On Twitter. Do you have a YouTube?
I do not have a YouTube.
Okay, so not YouTube, but DeviantArt and Twitter and Tumblr? No Tumblr.
Yes, I have a Tumblr.
Oh, and Tumblr. Okay. All right. Thank you so much for coming by and speaking with us today.
Thank you for having me on.
Everybody, this has been Into the Spotlight with OsakaJack. We'll catch you next time.